Hey guys, and welcome to Faith Works Designs. I'm Faith, and today we are doing a really exciting sew-along with K&A Custom Fabrics. Now, disclaimer, this panel isn't available yet. I know. There's reasons why I have to put this video out so early, but Kim and Alex have been doing a subscription box service where they'll send out a box with all the things that you need to make said purse, and it's all going to be different. They're all of different categories, and they're actually really cool. This is going to be one of their boxes. After all of the boxes for that round goes out, this is going to be turned into a sew-along. So it will be on the site. It's just a matter of when. So anyway, if you cannot wait for it to come out as a sew-along on their site, go to their Facebook page, message Kim and Alex, and be like, put me on the subscription box service so that you can get this first. You will be the first one to get it. Alright, with that out of the way, let's talk about the bag. So you know K&A has been doing books for the longest time. And so we've got our cute front, which hopefully shows up. If not, I will try and insert pictures. And then we've got our really cool spine. And then our back. I love how that back turned out. It's so pretty. And then if you'll notice, we have a full zipper gusset. I have been whittling away at this for like a year trying to figure out all the little ways to be able to do this for you guys because I wanted it. Alright, now when I open this up I put one of the panels sideways is because your girl has been super busy doing a bunch of stuff, putting out patterns, doing sew-alongs. I've been a busy person. So in the video I show you how to put Belle turned sideways so that she's facing the same direction as Cogsworth. So for right now she just kind of looks off, so just ignore it. You have your little flap. On the sides you'll notice there's hardware for a chain. I'll show you how to put that in. Now let's talk about the zipper gusset. So it goes all the way around and it still has that nice look of looking like a book all the way around. When you open up your zippers, on the very back you're going to have a zipper pocket. On the opposite side, you're going to have two slip pockets. So we got lots of stuff for our inside this time because most of our fabrics are on our outer panel. So I was like, I can get slip pockets and zipper pockets. It needs it. Okay, so let's get started. Alright, so this is what your panel is going to look like when you get it. Kim and Alex know that you are supposed to roll up your panels when you mail them out. Alright, so when you open up your panel, you're going to have your outer panel. Today I am working with the pebble vinyl. And then on the inside, you're going to have your lining. And this is going to have everything you need to make the bag, minus your hardware, webbing, all of that stuff. But you're going to have all of that ready to go. Normally, I tell you to take your outer panel and make it line up with your lining panel. But some of our outers are different from our inners. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut all of this out and I'm going to come back and piece by piece I'm going to tell you exactly what everything measures so that you can check your panel when you go to cut everything out. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take the few pieces that do match up to the lining. We're going to take those and cut that out, and then I'm going to give you the measurements for our pockets and all of that stuff. Alright, so let's go over all of the pieces. So we have got our outer zipper gusset and our lining zipper gusset. Those are going to measure 1.5 inches by 22.5 inches long. Our bottom zipper gusset is going to measure 3 inches wide by 15.5 inches long. So this is going to be our zipper, our front zipper panel. It is going to be 11 inches wide by 9 inches tall. When it goes into the bag, it'll be 11 inches wide, 9 inches tall, but I just wanted you to see the artwork. But it will go like that in the bag. Alright, so I've got my inner zipper wall. It's going to be 13 inches wide by 10.5 inches tall. When you go to cut out this inner bit, it's going to be white here. You want to cut in 1/4 inch. So measure in 1/4 inch from that white part and then start cutting. I don't know if you can see it, but I left a little bit of white. That's going to be in our seam allowance. This is your upper inner panel, it is going to measure 13 inches wide by 13 inches tall. And I've interfaced that, as well as I did not interface this piece because you'll see in a little bit. We've got our front main outer panel. It's going to be 22 inches wide by 13 inches tall. For our lining, we're going to have our zipper pockets. They're going to be 6 inches tall by 10.5 inches wide. You're going to have 2 of those. Then for your inside lining, you're going to want to take Cogsworth and you're going to want to make him trace out your lining. So I just put my outer panel down, put him on my lining, and then cut around him twice. Those are also going to measure 11 wide by 9 high. This one is going to be our slip pocket. The slip pocket is going to be 12 inches tall by 11 inches wide. We're going to fold this in half. So what I did was I went ahead and cut it at the measurements. I folded it in half, and I didn't cut the corners. I took one of my inside lining panels and I lined it up, turned it over, and then cut the corners so that I made sure that they matched, if that makes any sense at all. So it had all white on the corners, and then you just fold it in half, match it up from side, and then the very bottom. I clipped them together, turned it over, and then cut the corner so that they matched this lining piece, because that's what they're going to go on. Also, when you're putting your slip pocket in, make sure that the artwork is facing the correct way, not like that. Make sure that you're putting it in this way. Alright, that is all the pieces. Let's go. Let's talk hardware and things you're going to need for your bag real quick. I am using one number 5 zipper tape color for my inside, and then a different one for like my zipper gusset. You're going to need some zipper tape. Future Faith will put the measurements here. You're also going to need 3 zippers. The inside zipper pocket is not optional because that's how we're going to be turning everything inside out. You're going to need that pocket. So you're going to need 3 zippers. If you want your inside zipper gusset to only have 1, that's fine. But I'm going to be using 3 because I like opening my bag from the center out. It's up to you. We are also going to be using these strap holder bridges. Now, I got these from Waywack, and I don't know what Kim and Alex are going to have, but there are tons of different ways that you can add strap connectors, and I was looking for another kind that I had, but I can't find it right now. But you can add purse strap stuff different ways. You don't have to do a D-ring every single time. There are all kinds of hardware that's out right now that you guys can use these with. So we're going to use 2 of these to add our strap to, and then you're going to need your strap hardware. Whatever you decide to do. It looked really cool with a chain. When I did the tester, I used a chain. So it's up to you if you want to use webbing or a chain. You just need to have some strap hardware. Alright, so while we're already here, let's just go ahead and do the slip pocket and go ahead and get that over with. So what you're going to do is you're going to fold this in half, matching up the very bottoms. I'm going to clip across the top, and then the next thing you're going to do is go to your sewing machine and then just base stitch along the top so that we have a nice crisp top line, and then we're going to put it on our back panel. But let's go sew across the top. Alright, so we're nice and top stitched right across there. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my panel, one of them, it doesn't matter which one, line them up so that the bottoms and the sides match. Then we're going to take this to the sewing machine and base stitch this in place, just sewing around this bottom edge right here. And then we're going to put a divider in the center. If you wanted to, you could do a little pin pocket if you wanted to. You could do the center pocket. I'm just going to do the center one. Whatever you need, if you're going to be using this for, say, school or, you know, stuff coming up, you could do pin slots. It's up to you, whatever you want to do. So let's go sew this in. Alright, so I have got a 4-stitch length. I'm just going to go right around the edge, just kind of base stitching these 2 panels together. Alright, now that your panel is done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this in half and crease it And then wherever the crease is, that's going to be my center, and I'm going to go ahead and put a line down, straight down the center. So I'm just folding it in half, and then with my fingers kind of pressing it. And then I'm still going to have a 4-stitch length, and I'm going to make sure that I'm backstitching really well, because that's a pocket that's going to get used. Alright, so that is sewn into place. We have our little slip pockets. Next thing that I did was I folded it in half and I cut a notch at the bottom and at the top. We're going to need those for later. Set this aside. We're going to grab our other lining piece, our 2 zipper panels, my zipper tape for my inside zipper pocket, and then my zipper. I think that's it. Okay, we're going to need all of this for the next step. So the next thing we're going to do is I am going to grab one of the zipper pocket panels, and I'm going to grab my ruler and I'm going to center it. Now, an inch. Where are all my pins? I've got my ruler up 1 inch, and then I'm going to mark an inch in on this side. There, you were marking just a minute ago. Alright, and then an inch on this side. And then we're going to take our pin after we've made our 2 marks, and we're going to connect those 2 marks. And then move it up 1/2 inch, and then connect all 4 marks so that you have your little rectangle here. Alright, now I'm going to grab my main lining panel, and we're going to take our zipper panel and place it right side to right side, and we're going to center it onto our panel. I don't know why I put my ruler away like I'm done with it or something. Alright, grab your ruler. I think I have it up too high. Let's see. Yep. 1.5 inches down, we're going to put our zipper pocket. We want plenty of room all the way around for all of the turning and all of the stuff we're going to be doing. So, 1.5 inches down, place your zipper pocket panel. If you want to, you could pin this in place. I'm just going to pick it up like this and take it to the sewing machine. We're going to go around our zipper box. Okay, I just started sewing like I wasn't supposed to be doing anything. I started up here, went to each corner. You put my needle down, there you go. So I started here, went around my corner. When you go to turn your fabric, make sure your needle is down, and then just sew around your box. Alright, got my zipper pocket in. I'm going to cut straight down the center. If you don't know how to cut straight, you can always make a line with your ruler and then cut it like that. So I'm going to about 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch to the edge, and then I'm going to grab my really good scissors, and I am going to be cutting at an angle. There we go. So you should have a triangle at both ends, just like that. And since this is cotton, I'm going to be a good girl, and I'm going to go ahead and take this to the ironing board and iron my lining in the right direction. I know. I'm having one of those days. Okay, so once you have it nice and open, take your lining, turn it to the back, the wrong side of your lining panel. So, like so. I'm going to take mine to the ironing board real quick, iron that out. It should look like that on the back. Let me go do that, and then we'll go to the next step. Alright, got it all ironed. I am such a big girl. Alright, now I'm going to grab my 9.5 inch zipper. What I did was I went ahead before I even put my zipper on. Y'all know when you put your zipper on, the zipper tape tends to like whoop, and it's annoying. So go ahead and put your 1/4 inch zipper tape on first. This is going to allow us to place our zipper just so. The next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and put your zipper on. So we're going to take our zipper tape, open it up with our zipper facing this way. We're going to go left side first, then the right side. Or get your zipper jig. But I'm going to tell you what, once you guys figure out how to put zippers on by yourself, you can't stop you. You can do all kinds of stuff and use all kinds of cute zippers. Alright, so I'm going to take the top tape off, or the paper off, And then I'm going to center my panel on top of that so that I can feel zipper edge on these sides, and then make sure that I'm happy with that. When I am, fold this up, pull the tape off there, or the paper off of there, and then press this down. Now, if it's not where you want it, you can always take it, pull it, and then push it where you want it to go. That is a great thing about this double-sided tape. I can kind of move things around and make sure that my zipper tape is right where I want it. Alright, let's go to the sewing machine and we're just going to stitch all the way around that box. Alright, I've got a 3-stitch length and I'm just going to go all the way around my little rectangle. Alright, our zipper is all sewed in. It should look like that. The next thing that we're going to need to do is grab our cute kitty bowl with our clips in it, and we're going to turn this over. We're going to do right sides to right sides with our zipper panels. And I'm going to start at the bottom and just kind of clip them together. We are not going to be sewing the very bottom of our zipper panels. We're only going to be sewing up the sides and around the top, because we're going to close that up later after we turn everything right side out. When I get to the sewing machine, I am going to turn this up about 1/4 inch like this, and then start sewing. I'm going to take the top layer and the bottom layer and fold them up 1/4 inch, and then start sewing. We're going to be taking it to the sewing machine and sewing it like this. So fold those up, and then we're going to start sewing. So let me take it to the sewing machine. We're still at a 3-stitch length, so I'm taking my panels and I'm folding those very bottom ends down just 1/4 inch, and we're going to start sewing there. We are going to make sure that we backstitch really good right here. And if you don't get in the habit of hanging onto your threads when you start sewing, that will help you later on. And why are you being so funky? That's fine. Alright, when I get down to the bottom, I'm going to pull up the bottom like 1/4 inch or so. My 1/4 inch tends to be bigger than my 1/4 inch, if you know what I mean. Alright, just like that. Alright, so your panel is all done. Got this hole so we can turn everything inside out through. We're going to set that aside. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to work on our zippers. I'm going to grab a small ruler and a marking tool. And we are not doing our zipper gussets the way that we normally do, so don't skip this step. We're going to be adding these onto these, but we got to get our zipper and all that jazz in there first. Alright, so I'm lining up the edges of my zipper gusset, and then I'm going to mark 3/8 of an inch. I'm going to do it all the way across there so that I remember, because I have a half brain. So 3/8 on this side, and then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Just marking it out so we remember. Alright, now I'm going to grab our zipper tape, and you're just going to measure along your zipper gusset. And I'm going to remember to burn my ends. I'm going to take one of my zipper gussets, and I'm going to put these to right side, and I'm just going to clip all the way down. Your zipper should meet the edge of your outer zipper panel. So it should be the same length as your zipper panel. Make sure you melt that other end. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab one of my lining pieces and place it right side to the wrong side of my zipper. Again, our outer and our lining are going to meet up at that edge. Alright, let's take this to the sewing machine, and I'm going to show you how we're going to sew this on. Remember, it's a little bit different, so don't just go sewing at it. Alright, so I've got my stitch length at a 3. What we're going to do is we're not starting on this edge, we're going to start at that 3/8 edge, and then we're going to sew all the way down and stop when we get to that other 3/8 edge. So make sure you backstitch right here and then go ahead all the way down. Now that we've got that sewed on, the next thing that we're going to do is we are not top stitching down our zipper. We are taking our outer panel and our lining panel and pulling it away from our zipper, and then we're just going to clip down that one side. We are not base stitching that side down closed. We are just trying to get that lining to be where it's supposed to be and clipping it all the way down so that it's away from that zipper. Then we're going to go back to the table and we're going to add the other side of our outer and lining and do the same exact thing, starting at 3/8 an inch and then sewing down and stopping at the next 3/8 of an inch on the other end. So I am going to do that in fast forward and then we will move on. Now that that's like that, let's grab our other outer. Put it right side to right side of our zipper. Clip that together all the way down. Take our lining, put it right side to the wrong side of our zipper. And then clip all the way down. Alright, just like we did on the other side, we're going to start 3/8 of an inch in. Making sure to backstitch. Alright, we've got both sides clipped so that our zipper or our outer and our lining are pulled away from our zipper. The next thing we need to do is go ahead and get that zipper on before we forget, because nothing would stink more than not having your zipper on when you go to do everything else. Alright, so if you're using two zippers, they should face you like that and come together in the center. Okay, which side did I say? I think it was this side. I'm going to take a small ruler and I'm going to remove some of these clips for a minute because I need to install our hardware. Next thing we're going to do is measure up 4.5 inches. It depends on what you're using, where you're going to put all of your marks for this. If you're using these, what I'm going to do is make my first mark at that 4.5 inch mark. Okay, so 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to place my first mark. So that is where my first one is going to go. I'm going to take my washer. Now we're going to have to top stitch this, so you don't want it so close. That's why I measured 3¼ up. So I'm just going to mark it like that and then take my other mark just like that. We're going to do the same thing to the other side. So let's go down here. So we're measuring 4.5 and 3/4 up. There we go. Just put a little dot right there. Now we're not putting these in just yet, but I am going to go ahead and open them up so that I don't forget to do this later. Ooh. They're already opened up. I'm going to put my clips back on because real quick we need to go ahead and finish this gusset off. And so that we don't have to mess with these being in our way while we top stitch, I'm going to wait to put those on. So I'm going to real quick grab some sweat from my drink and I'm going to wipe those marks off because this marker likes to hang out for a while and not leave. I want to make sure that I'm not getting it on anything else before I move on. So I'm going to take that off. That's a good thing about having a nice cold drink. You can just use the sweat to wipe things off. Okay, I'm going to clip these back up. And the next thing you're going to need to do is get your outer and lining bottom gussets. And we're going to put these together. And this is how I said it's going to be a little bit different than we normally do it. So we're going to grab our outer. And grab our outer, and what we're going to do is we're going to clip the outer to the outer. We are not adding the lining, okay? We're going to pull this lining away and we're going to sew. We're going to sew across our zipper and our outer panel at that 3/4 of an inch right there. We are not sewing our lining to this situation. I'm going to go ahead and clip it to the other side as well, and that way I can just do both while I'm over there. So again, move that lining out of the way and then stitch at 3/8 of an inch across there. So let's go do that. I still got a 3 stitch length. Are you guys proud of me for using something other than a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance? You should be proud of me. That was hard. It had to be done, but that was hard. And then move this other lining out of the way. I am going to go back over my zipper a couple of times because I don't want that coming undone. And I'm back stitching when I start and when I stop, because I don't want this coming undone. Okay, let's do the other side real quick. Alright, we have got our outer gusset on. The next thing we need to do is do the same thing with our lining gusset. So I'm going to take my gusset right side to the wrong side of my zipper, and I'm just going to clip on the side for right now, just to hold it in place. And then I'm going to go down to the other side of the gusset and do right side to the wrong side of my zipper. And then we'll go back to the sewing machine and sew the zipper lining together separately from the outer panel. Alright, now it's going to be a little more difficult, and I'm very, very sorry, but this is how it has to be. So we're going to pull the outer bottom and zipper gusset out of the way, and you're going to sew across your lining as close as you can. You're going to sew across your lining as close as you can with that top in the way. Alright, now that was painstakingly done. I know that wasn't fun, but there's a reason for that. Alright, so I'm taking these clips off. Now, we're going to take our outer gusset away from our zipper gusset and lining and all that jazz. Okay, so here's what we're going to do in a basic nutshell. We're going to sew down one side of our zipper, come down past the D-ring, over, and then back up our zipper. You can start anywhere, and this is another reason why I didn't add a D-ring here, because it's already going to be thick enough. If you've got like a domestic that you're working on and you're wanting to do this pattern, I want you to be able to do my patterns. So yeah, we're trying to thin the herd. Alright, so I'm going to start up here and then just sew down, over, and back up again. I've got my stitch length at a 4. I'm also making sure that this lining is nice and pulled away. That's what the clips are supposed to be doing for me, but sometimes they just don't. So make sure that lining is pulled away and out of your way. Your bottom gusset should be over there, out of the way, not getting in any trouble, hopefully. And we're just sewing 1/8 of an inch away from the zipper. Alright, my size 12 needles hate going around corners, and I don't know why, but it's really, really annoying. Alright, so the gusset's ready to go. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and add our little side connectors. So So I'm going to take that clip off, poke the feet through there like that. And the next thing we're going to do is put the washer on. Now, I had a bad experience with these. So, I am going to put a little bit of duct tape. Just because it would make me feel better. I'm going to put a little bit of duct tape over top of them. My husband, for some reason, decided to get the biggest roll of duct tape that there ever was. Don't worry, these are my sticky scissors, not sewing scissors. They are delegated to do all of the sticky stuff. Alright, so over top of it, and I've got the feet kind of turned into each other, and I'm going to put that on top of that. And then pull that back over and clip it. Okay, so that's one side. Now I got to do the other side. Put your washer on. Fold down one side. Fold down the other side. And then use some duct tape. Hold on. Do not want this poking out through the edge. And alright, we're duct taped, and I'm going to clip it back. Alright, next thing we're going to do is we're going to set this aside for a minute. We're going to grab our slip pocket piece and then our Cogsworth piece. Alright, so we have got our zipper front panel. We need to put our magnets in this. And let me go ahead and tell you that I had to come back with my second panel to put the magnets on because I forgot to do it the first time. So, with your panel facing you like this, I'm going to take it and I'm going to flip it with the wrong side up. So just make sure that its orientation is like this. That's how it's going to go in the book. And then just flip it right side over. Then we're going to take a marking tool and our small ruler. And I'm going to line it up on my desk like so. And then we're going to mark out 1.5 inches this way and 1.5 inches from the bottom. So 1.5 inches in that way, 1.5 inches in that way. And then same thing on the other side, 1.5 inches, and make a mark. Now I'm going to go get my magnets. Alright, so we're going to grab 2 of our male end magnets and then 2 of our washers. I'm going to stick our washer on top of the dot that we just made and then draw lines on each side of that washer. And then do the same thing on the other side. And then I'm going to grab my seam ripper and I'm going to open those up. Now we're going to take our male end from the right side of our panel and push it in. And then I'm going to put my washer on top of that. And I'm going to take my pliers and I'm going to push those down. And then take your second one and go ahead and put that one in. Put your washer on and push those legs down. Alright, so for the rest of the video, you are going to see my panel without magnets on them. Just ignore me. That was me messing things up because I have too much stuff to do. So make sure that you put your magnets in. So let's go to the rest of the video that I recorded previously. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to put them wrong side to wrong side. Now Cogsworth is going to be going in like this. So we need to make sure that our slip pockets are facing this way so that we can put our hand in this way. And then we're going to take them and put them wrong sides together like that. So that should be the way your directions are. Hopefully that's clear because you don't want your pockets on upside down. Alright, so I'm going to clip around this and then I'm going to take it to the sewing machine and we are just going to base stitch those two together. Alright, we have got a 4 stitch length. I'm going to move you guys up a little bit. Alright, we've got a 4 stitch length. We're going to go 1/8 of an inch all the way around the edges and making this into one piece. Alright, so when you look at Cogsworth, he should be looking like this. When you turn it over, your slip pocket should be facing this way. I just want to make sure we got that covered. Alright, next thing we need to do is we're going to have to make some marks on all of this stuff so that everything matches up when we go to put it together. We're going to find the center of the top of your panel. Then we're going to find the center of the bottom of your panel, which you should already have with your seam that you did for your slip pockets if you did what I did. Then we're going to be doing so this is the way I've been doing it to make it a little bit easier for myself, is I'm taco-winning it, clipping it, and then finding the side seams. Because you're going to need a center front, center back, and then the center of your sides. And that way we can kind of add up our gusset so that everything is facing the right way. Now we're going to grab our zipper gusset. We're going to do the exact same thing. So I'm going to put the zippers together so that the bottom gusset zippers are all together. I'm going to find the top center, then I'm going to put the gussets back together, and then I'm going to find the bottom center like that, and I'm going to do that on both sides. Alright, we have got our top center front, we've got our bottom center front. You should have them on both sides. Now we're going to take the top and the bottom center front and put them together so that we can have a right center front and a left center front. So I'm going to take these and clip them together so they don't move. And I'm going to find my right center and then find my left center and make a mark. And I'm going to do that on both sides of my gusset. Now, we are going to be doing binding. And I know, I hear all of you guys groaning at home. This was just the easiest way for my little brain to figure this out and how to do this. So, you have got the front and the back of your zipper gusset. If you're using the little hooks like I am, this is going to be our back. I want my strap. So this is the front of our bag, this is the back of our bag. I want my little strap connector on the back of my bag, right? So this is going to be my back, this is going to be my front. Turn your zipper gusset right sides in. Find so this is the back because it's got the connector. So you turn it over and get this side that has no connectors at all. This is going to be my front center mark. On Cogsworth, he's going in your bag like this. That is your front center mark. We're going to put our front center marks together. And I'm going to clip just the top right this second. Okay, now, this mark on this side is your bottom center. And then you have your bottom center here. We're going to put those two together. Okay? Now, we've got our side centers. We need to match those up to the side centers in our panel. Alright, the gusset is clipped to the outside of your gusset. Woo! That was a little work. Alright, next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take this to the sewing machine, and at 1/4 of an inch we're going to sew our gusset and our front panel together. Alright, so I have got my 4 stitch length and I've got you turned, so hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I am going to go ahead and do 1/4 of an inch all the way around, and then we'll come back and we will do the binding. I'm going to go ahead and get that first initial stitch done. I like to have like an extra stitch, give or take, when I'm doing certain vinyls, just to make sure, you know when you turn a bag inside out and then you kind of see like your stitches just a little bit and it bugs the crap out of you? Me too. So I do an extra stitch when I go around, and that binding is going to be my extra stitch this time. Alright, so I'm going to hush and sew this. I had to go get my waterproof canvas for my binding, and I saw this. And she's adorable. Hello, Mama. Hello. I love you. Alright, enough kitty watching. Okay, so we got that installed, and it should look like that. So that the zipper is at the top, Cogsworth is facing that way. Alright, next thing we're going to do is we're going to bind this. I cut out an inch strip of waterproof canvas. If you're worried about it fraying or anything like that, I would highly suggest fold over elastic. Unfortunately, the one that I bought wasn't thick enough. Fold over elastic, especially when you're doing round shapes, is amazing and saves you so much time from having to cut out strips. It's just ready to go. I wish I had some right now, but that's okay. That's okay. We work with what we've got around here. So I am just going to fold it in half, put it around the edges, and then I'm going to take it back to the sewing machine and sew this on. And then we get to go to the really technical, difficult part of the bag. Can you tell that I have been stalling? I'm like, what all can I do before we have to get there? Like, what can I do before we get into that space? Might need to have a snack so that I can handle it. Alright, I'm going to clip this around, and then I'll take you back to the sewing machine. Alright, so we've got a 4-stitch length. I'm going 1/4 inch in. Again, I'll probably veer off a little bit and make it a little bit more than 1/4, and that's fine. Alright, all done, binding is on, we're good to go. And next thing you need to do is grab your zipper pocket. You're going to need to make sure that there is a center top, center bottom, center left, center right. That way we can match it up with all of our center marks on everything else. Alright, next thing you're going to do is take your lining and pull it away, sort of like you would be turning it right side out, but not quite. There we go. Bottom gusset is going to be so much easier because it's bigger. Alright, next thing we're going to do is we're going to start matching up. So that is my top center. I'm going to match up my top center because it's on top of my zipper. Top center to top center, bottom center to bottom center, and flip it over just like that. And then just start clipping all the way around. Alright, so I figured it was going to take me a minute to just kind of straighten everything up, make sure it was good. This is what it should look like. You got your outside panel kind of shoved this way. While I'm sewing, I'm going to be sewing it this way and around. You want to make sure that this does not get caught. We need this to be kind of flexible to get all of our panels to do what they're supposed to be doing. So, let's get started. Alright, we're all sewn in. Make sure that when you're sewing these together that you're not catching any of that under zipper gusset, because it kept trying to like push against the lining. So just kind of push it out of the way as you're sewing it. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to turn this right side out now. Okay, now we can peek at our lining and how it looks. So when you go to look in your purse, that is how it's going to look. Very cool, very cool. Alright, now let me double check. Yes. Alright, so we've got all 4 points on our outer panel, our front situation. Next thing we're going to need to do, make sure you have your 4 points. We're going to grab this panel, the one that has the cutout. The first thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to need to put our points in there so that we can put those two together. So I'm just going to grab this. I'm going to clip at the top. So you're going to have a center top, center bottom, and I'm doing it on the inside, so not the outside, but the inside where I'm going to have to be putting them together. I'm going to have a center left, and then a center right. Okay. Once you've got all those marks and you're ready to go, next thing we're going to do is put these two together. So right side to right side. So we're going to take our top center mark and we're going to match it up with our top center mark on the top of our bag that we just worked on. We're not including our lining in this. That's going to stay out of the way. So we're going to clip that. Then I'm going to come down here to the bottom, right sides together. Whoa, come here. So right side of our bottom is going to go to the right side, our bottom center down here. Again, making sure to not have that lining in the way. And then come over here to the side center. And that pen is just following me everywhere. Well, it's there for forever now. Okay. Side center. Flip that. And now you're going to go to the other side center. And clip that. And then go ahead and clip all the way around. When you get to these corners, you're going to have to make 1/8 of an inch. Just a little snip. Don't go snip crazy. Just snip as much as you think that you need. And then it will lay nice and flat. Alright, I'm going to go clip this up and get it going. Alright, so I want to show you something real quick before we get started. I went back and where I had made the clips on this outer panel, I made the same clips on the one that we are sewing it to, on the gusset, just to make sure that that kind of all does what it's supposed to do. Hopefully we will see. Alright, now we're going to sew it at 1/4 of an inch, sew both of them together. And then when I get done, I'm probably going to clip a little bit closer to my seam allowance, just so this will hopefully lay nice and flat like I want it to. Alright, so I debated over this step, but we're going to go ahead and do it. Your seam allowance is going to be kind of poking onto the back of your bag. We don't want that. What I want to do is take this seam allowance here and take the front flap and make sure that our seam allowance is out. You can't see that. That our seam allowance is out like that, and then top stitch all the way around. That way this isn't constantly poking into the back of our bag, and it'll help it lay flat later on. Just a couple of times that I did this, my bag kind of warped a little bit, so if it doesn't work out well, I will say don't do that. Here we go. So I've got a 4-stitch length, and just as I go around, I'm going to make sure that that seam allowance is out. Also, make sure that it's not kind of warping. Make sure that you're pulling the same amount away from that seam, if that makes any sense whatsoever. Probably not. And 1/8 of an inch, we're just going around. Alright, so we're adding our top bell panel and putting on the magnets and all of that. Don't be like me. Put your panel on like this. It's 13 by 13, so you can just turn it sideways. That way Bell and Cogsworth are both facing the same way. When I was looking at the panel and I was cutting it out, it was put on the sheet like this, and so I automatically put it the wrong way. So when you put your panel on, do it like that so that they match. So I would definitely recommend doing that. It might warp it just a little bit, but because it doesn't have the Decoville light on there, it's able to stretch a little bit. This vinyl is a little stretchy, which is perfect. Alright, next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab Bell, and we're going to put Bell on the top like that. So what you're going to need to do is right sides together, and because this isn't all sewn in together, we can push that back in just to kind of get it out of our way when we're trying to sew. And so I want to do right sides together. So I'm taking her, flipping her down. This bottom edge right here is coming to this top edge right there. Boom. And then clip them together. Alright, I have got a 3-stitch length, and with a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, we're going to go just straight across. Alright, so we've got the top attached to the body, so that when you open up the book, this is how it looks. Alright, next thing we need to do is we need to make this seam right here lay down nice and flat. So I'm going to push all of this back out. Get it out some way. Alright, now, you're not going to be able to see what I'm doing, but this is essentially what I'm doing. I'm taking this seam and opening it up, and then I'm sewing down one side, and then coming back to the other. I'm sewing on the seam allowance to that panel. So I'm going to sew that 1/8 of an inch, sew this down, go all the way down, come back up, and then sewing on this side to sew that down. Hopefully that made sense. And for a whole minute or two, you're not going to be able to see a thing I'm doing. I've got you over as far as I can get you. Alright, so I've got a 4-stitch length. I'm just going to go down, making sure that my seam is pressed out away from each other. And you could have started on the other side if that would make you feel better. I just wanted to get the difficult side out of the way first before I move to the easy side. End things on the easy note. Make sure that seam is spread open. Alright, so we've got the Beauty and Beast all laid out. I went ahead and I grabbed the front panel. Now I asked Alex, I asked her to leave more of a height on here because I was debating on top stitching this or not. Sometimes when I was top stitching this, it would kind of warp the panel, and I wanted there to be more than enough than not enough. So that is why it looks that way. Okay, let's see. Grab your panel that you just finished. Then grab your front panel with Beauty and the Beast on it. And then what you're going to need to do is, I clipped all of it together, made sure everything was straight. I'm going to cut this excess off. Next thing that you're going to do is not sew them together. We're going to do one of two ways of putting this bag together. But first, I want to, I forgot the magnets. Hopefully, Editing Faith has put that part in there for you so that you know where to put your magnets. The next thing, before we sew all of this together, is we're going to need to put our magnets up here. So I'm going to go cut this excess off, make sure that it's straight all the way across, and then we will put the magnets up here. And like magic, there are magnets. Love the power of editing. Okay. Here's what we need to do next. You need to make sure that you line your panel up on your table as best you can. If you have not made sure that this measures 22 inches out, it needs to measure 22 inches so that it's the same size or same length as your outer cover. If you have to take any length off, take it off the top right here, because that's why I had her leave that for you guys like that. Alright, now we're going to put the magnets on this side. What I did was measure 2 1/4 up, 2 1/2 over. So 2 1/4 from this edge up, and then 2 1/2 in. And that will give me where my magnet needs to go. I did it on the other side. 2 1/4 inches up, 2 1/2 inches over. And I made my dot. Then I took my washers, laid them down on my marks, marked both sides of those washers. Now I'm going to open those up. You're putting you can do male or female ends, but make sure you use the same ones. I like to put my female ends on my flap and then my male ends on the other part of the body of the bag. So I'm going to take the magnet legs and make them meet up in the center. They're going to be right on top of each other because we don't want these coming out. Alright, that's done. Now, if you want, you can just check, make sure that everybody's going where they're supposed to go. Alright, now we need to move on to the very front and putting all of this together. So, let me get all my stuff off the desk and then we'll do that. Alright, so to do the very last step, I was trying to be mindful of the fact that there are a lot of people that don't have industrials and that can't sew through all the layers. So I'm trying to give you guys some options. So option 1 is to push all of this in on itself. Put your outer flap on top of it, just like that. So Beauty with the bell shape is going to be attached to Beauty. The glass, stained glass, is going to be attached to the clock guy. And then what you do is clip all the way around, sew all the way around 1/4 inch, then take it and pull it through your zipper pocket. Okay, and then turn it inside out, and then top stitch all the way around. It can get thick like that, so I'm going to show you another way that might or may not be a better way. We'll see. Alright, first things first, we got to prep our panel. You guys, I've made this panel like, good grief, months and months and months and months and months ago. So I've learned things since then, and I'm just trying to make it easier on you guys. So what I did was I took my ruler and I measured 1/2 inch all the way around the border of my lining piece. I need to do that to my outside panel as well, but I'm going to show you on the inside panel real quick. Alright, I have also got some 1/2 inch double-sided tape, and what you're going to do, start from where it X's. So I made a line all the way across and then all the way down and made sure that I had these corners X like that. I'm putting my 1/2 inch double-sided tape right down the center of that 1/2 inch mark. Right down the center, not above it, not below it, right on it. And it's going to get hairy right here. What am I going to do with my scissors? Okay. I'm going to do that on the opposite side. And I'm just putting it right on top of that line. And then I'm going to do it on the top and the bottom. So I'm not making them touch in this corner. So we've got tape that is separated. The top and the bottom should be a piece by itself, and then down each side should be a piece by itself, okay? You're going to need a ton of clips, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to take this paper off, and then we're going to take this outer edge. You should have cut your Decoville light a 1/4 inch short, but I am just, all I'm doing is just folding it over that 1/4 inch. I am not going to fold this corner over, we're going to leave it open. So I'm just folding it right over that Decoville light. And then just to make sure, I think I'm going to use these. Just to make sure it's not going anywhere, I'm going to go ahead and put these clips here. And then just keep going. A 1/4 inch on each side. Okay, well, let's show you on this side. In order to get a really good cut, you're going to need to get these two edges pinched together, and then I take my thumb and I kind of put an indentation right there. I also do this on my Mika Posh videos. She does her bags like this, so if you wanted to check that video out, you could. It's very, very easy. You're just going to want to cut this corner off. So it should look like that after you kind of finger it for a while. It'll have those indentations. And then we're going to trim it off. If you have made, it'll look like that. If you've made the fender wallet, I did that for my card slots, and the way that this gets sewn, you don't see the corner. Alright, let's do that again. Alright, battery died. Okay, let's try that again. So I'm going to take my fingers, and I'm just pinching right there down at the bottom, taking advantage of my thumbnails, and just kind of pushing that down. And then I'm going to cut straight across there, and you should end up with a corner like that. Alright, I am going to do the other two corners on the opposite side. That's going to be really hard to see. And then I'm going to go and grab the front panel and do the same exact thing. I'm going to fast forward through me doing that so that this video isn't 9 years long. So, if you are going to be doing this method, you are going to need to close this zipper pocket up if you're doing this method. If you want to turn it inside out, then you can go for it. Go turn it inside out. Let me know what you think of each way of doing this, because I feel like this is going to be better so that we're not having to turn things inside and out. You know, with vinyl, if you mess with it too much, it tends to be annoying. So I'm trying not to mess with this any more than I have to, and I think this is going to be a little bit better for you guys on domestics, or I hope so. If you sew this on a domestic, let me know, because I would love to know what sew-alongs you guys can actually sew on domestics and which ones you guys can do on your industrials. Alright, so that is the inside panel. Alright, I'm going to go grab the outer panel and do the same exact thing. Alright, so I went ahead and I closed up my zipper pocket. I don't know if you can see that or not. I closed that up. Alright, so I put a bunch of 1/2 inch double-sided tape across there so that the vinyls can adhere to each other in the center. If you have fabric glue or some kind of heavier glue that will work with vinyl, use that. I put them going in this direction because I'm going to start with the harder side, and I just want to pull back about half of the paper so that I can make sure that this end is situated before I work my way up. So that's what I'm getting ready to do. I'm going to pull that paper back just about halfway or so. And then you're going to need a lot of clips. These clips are not going to work. I'm going to need to get my other clips to make sure that everybody's going where they're supposed to. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I've got my front of my book on the left facing me. So when I look at it, I'm looking at the book. And then the back is on my right. And I'm going to take, we're going to do the hard side first. I figured that would be a good idea. So I'm going to line up the edges first, and then I'm just going to kind of press this down. On this side it doesn't help as much to have that tape, but on the other side it will. Alright, so take one of those clips off, match them up as best you can, take these clips off, the vinyl is probably going to want to stick to that double-sided tape, the extra that was kind of hanging over. And just take your time because you want this to match up. Whew. My arms are about to fall off. Okay, I've got this half exactly where I want it. Now what I need to do is pull the tape off, and I'm going to start working on this outer edge first and then kind of work my way towards the middle. So just go ahead and pull all that paper off. Alright, now what you're going to need to do is stick your hand in here, press that panel down to that tape, then do the same thing on that side. That side I'm going to double check before I start pressing it down. Whew, my arms are about to break. Okay, we're going to take this to the sewing machine, and at 1/8 of an inch we're going to sew around the edge. You want to make sure that you catch these corners. So I'm going to be sewing really close to the edge because I want to make sure there's only 1/4 in there tucked in. So I want to make sure that I close this up. If you wanted to, you could go around really close and then go back maybe another 1/4 of an inch just to make it kind of look a little extra fancy. It's up to you. Alright, let me double check this and then we'll go to the sewing machine and finish up. Alright, I'm trying not to have you in my face while I'm doing this, so this will look good. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Okay, 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to go all the way around, and I think that's going to be good enough to catch everything. If not, I will let you know, but I'm pretty sure. Go slow. This is going to show up on the outside and on the inside. When you get to these corners, you're going to want to make sure that everybody's tucked into bed so that when you sew over them, you don't see them. It's the only thing I don't like about my machine's foot is I can't see what I'm doing, how close I'm getting to that edge or not. Okay, shove on. you're finished. But are we? Okay, if you happen to not do very well on your corners, or maybe you don't like how it looks, or whatever the case may be, and you want to cover up your corners, I had talked to Kim and Alex about making the little edge pieces. If you want to add them, add them. Kim didn't want to mess up the artwork right here, but I noticed that when I put this on like that, that covers up that edge, and if you didn't like how it turned out, you can just put one of these edge pieces on there. I got some from Waywack. You might want to get some bigger ones, but they're called bag corners. And so you can put them on all four corners and then just squish them closed, and then you'd have them on there like that. It's just a suggestion. You don't have to do it. I don't think I'm going to do it, but I just wanted to show you guys what they look like. And there's a bunch of people out there that sell the little edge corners. So if you wanted to put a little extra something here, you could. Just wanted to show that to you guys. Alright guys, so what did you think? I hope you liked the video. I hope it made sense with all of my edits coming into it. It was just, I had two patterns that were coming out at the same time, and dealing with making sew along videos, plus those videos, plus written directions, plus all of that stuff. It was just a lot. So anyway, the video got done, edited. Hopefully it made sense. If it didn't, you can always ask me on Facebook or leave a question in the comment section. Also, if you're on K&A Custom Fabrics Facebook page, some of the strikers will have made this and they'll be able to answer any questions that you might have. Also, it's not available yet because it's going to be in one of their subscription boxes. I wanted to explain that a little bit more. So they need a QR code so that they can put it on the box. They can't get the QR code until I actually upload the video. And so that's why the video is up so early. Just because that way they can have the QR codes, they can print them on the boxes, and that way when there are people that have the box subscription get them, they can actually just scan that little QR code and it'll take them directly to the video. Anyway, I know it's disappointing when you watch a video and you're like, I need that, right? I was like, Kim, I'm going to have 1,000 people asking me, where is this panel? So I just want you guys to know it is coming. It will be a sew along. It'll probably be closer to the end of the year. Not quite the end of the year, but it's coming. So just watch out. If not, if you cannot wait, make sure that you message Kim and Alex and tell them you would like to be in on the subscription box. You might even be able to ask if you can just get this particular box. I don't know. Check with Kim and Alex on that one. I don't want to tell you wrong. If you like this video, you can give it a thumbs up. Or if you want to subscribe and see some of the other sew-alongs we have coming out, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss those. I also have quite a few projects coming, plus new patterns that if I don't shrink the page, you can see one of them in the very back there. I have patterns galore coming. I have been a very busy lady. Anyway, if you have any comments, leave them in the comment section below. I do check those daily. Thanks for joining us again on Faith Works Designs. Bye, guys.